Hello, and welcome to the Ferret Business Podcast. I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, aka Yemmy, aka Wicca DJ Yemmy. And with me today is a returning member of the podcast squad. He plays multiple video games in VR and in regular on the computer. Whatever you want. He plays some Payday 2, he plays some Beat Saber, plays meme songs on Beat Saber, I should add. You know, just beating up dudes in various games in VR. Hey, it's UrRandomGamer. Welcome back to the podcast.
Of course you would mention the meme songs.
The meme songs keep the memes strong.
Oh, geez, those are the best, too. They really are.
So how are you today, man?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
I had a pretty long day of work today, so I'm just
Really?
glad that it's the weekend, and here we are. We're talking. Oh my gosh, it was just a long day. Long day.
I'll admit with my work, it's gotten slow since Amazon's gotten out of Christmas, so I think I've worked maybe 4 days over the past 2 weeks.
I guess that's kind of nice, but also not nice because you might get a smaller paycheck, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller paycheck.
I mean, the holidays at Amazon must be booming, popping.
They can be. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Ever since, because they open up facilities every year, so it's not as big every year. Like, it keeps getting easier and easier. Like, when I started 4 years ago, that was the worst it's ever been. Like, we were working 60s every week, trying to get stuff out the door, missing every night, and now we're just like, you want to go home? Okay.
Kind of sounds like the ends of my time at McDonald's. They were like, "Hey, you want to leave?" I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
I've been there before.
Oh, so I don't think I ever asked you how did you get into working at Amazon? Was it something you've kind of thought about and wanted to do? Did you hear good things about it?
Okay, so I was working at Adidas as a line leader for receiving. And I just heard some of the people going from Adidas because we were making $8 an hour. And I mean, it was a good job, but it was just not paying enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a couple buddies of mine go to Amazon, and I was just like, you know what? Might as well give it a try. I had a roommate work there before and went over there, and I've been working there since.
What do you think they would say if someone from your new job at Amazon found your YouTube channel and you were playing bitch lasagna on Beat Saber?
Someone from Amazon. Actually, I have a couple people from Amazon that I've pretty much grew friends with at the company, and they've seen my streams before, and they always enjoy my streams.
What did the big boss? Let's say the CEO of Amazon is like, I'm gonna look into what my workers are doing. He goes, this guy has a YouTube channel, I
mean, as long as I don't talk about what Amazon does, I mean, there's nothing I can get in trouble with. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, at the most, he could do, at the very least, he could just ignore it. At the very most, he could promote it. So I mean, there's nothing negative that can come out from me streaming, unless I talk about something that Amazon has been doing.
Like their sketchy practice. No, I'm not going to bring it up. Oh, speaking of sketchy practices, you brought up to me that Soulja Boy has come out with a new console, handheld, that looks exactly like the PlayStation Vita.
He did come out with a new console.
Right after he's been sued into the ground by Nintendo, he decides, let's try again.
Yeah, Sony wants a piece of that action. And Sony did get a piece of that action because the console's no longer available.
Yeah, there you go. So what are your thoughts on that? Why would he do this again? And then also, is he going to do it again after this?
Well, one, like I said, he's an idiot because you don't mess with Nintendo and ROMs. They're notorious for hating anyone who sells or reproduces ROMs or even just downloads ROMs. They're very notorious for taking those people down. In fact, there are several websites that did have lots of famous ROMs, like say Emu Paradise, for example. And they were recently, the ROMs were taken down. They weren't, but the ROMs were because Nintendo threatened lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So you should know better than especially advertise there are ROMs on your console.
Well, this is Soulja Boy we're talking about. He spells his name with a J.
And he was bragging about going to esports and everything. And
Right.
oh, Jesus.
I think he was just a
So
little delusional. He must have gotten sold pretty well by these Chinese companies, because I don't think anyone who looked into it would have been like, oh yeah, I really want to support this and put it out there. He must have gotten duped
he
hard.
must have, and even the worst part, the Chinese companies at least do it smartly. I mean, yeah, they're downloading ROMs onto the system, selling them, but they're being quiet.
Exactly.
Soldier Boy was not publicly twittering. Jesus, I don't even know how to say this right. Was going public on Twitter about him making this console, selling 500,000 consoles filled with ROMs, challenging Nintendo, calling their bluff, saying they won't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then making fun of other YouTubers and just, oh my, he was asking for it. And he was asking for it again with the second one. At least this time he had the decency not to advertise ROMs were on this, though obviously they were.
Yeah.
And of course Sony was just like, nah, we're not having this.
Yeah. Yeah, you may have skated by a little bit with Nintendo, but you could, when it comes to us, you're out of here. Get out.
I don't even think he skated by with Nintendo. I mean,
Well, I mean, he lasted longer than with the Nintendo ROMs than he did with the Sony ROMs.
well,
So
Nintendo's usually nicer about it. Nintendo is like cease and desist. Please take your stuff
Reggie
down.
came to his house and was like, "Hey, I want to see you on the battle bus. We're gonna drop together, but your fucking ROMs are gonna go in the garbage right now."
No kidding, right?
Then he pulls out the Glock and he's like, "Drop it, bitch."
Drop it now. Jesus. And now I'm gonna assume he's gonna do it again because I mean, anyone with any form of common sense wouldn't do it a second time. So he's gonna do it again. It's gonna be the Soulja box. He's gonna
Yeah.
rip off Xbox, and then Xbox is gonna get a piece of him.
Yeah, probably. He could. Yeah, why? He might as well just invest in those like there's those Sega and Genesis, or no. I should say he should invest in the joystick consoles that plug right into your TV with like HDMI or AV cables, whatever they are, like the SpongeBob games and stuff like that, which is a joystick.
God. Yeah, I actually know about those. Yeah, I mean, if you just wanted a ROM built into something, there are actual joystick machines that people buy filled with ROMs that you just plug in, and it's actually there's one called Pandora's Box that I was interested in getting because I'm going to be building my own arcade cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can just invest one of those, or invest in, heck, there's a bunch of indie consoles you can invest in. There's so many better ways he could have done it.
The Ouya.
Oh god. I feel bad because I was so hyped up for the Ouya when it first was released, and then like more information started coming out. It's like an EA game.
Right. I had this idea that Soldier Boy should just, release his own little console and just have him be the main character of all these games, and be, he can make them like Mario Bros. He can make them like, Link or something like that.
Right?
But just name them like, Soulja Boys instead of Soldier Bros or Super Mario Bros. Soulja Boys, Soulja Bros.
And he is perfectly fine to do that. That's out of the bounds of copyright restrictions. Right. He could have done that and been fine. Heck, he could have slightly changed things and been fine. But he had to download direct ROMs of the games onto his console and then sell it. That was the issue.
When JonTron comes out of retirement to make a video on you, you fucked up.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
And
Did he come out of retirement for that?
Well, it was technically for Flex Seal, but Soldier Boy released his video on him released literally a week later. So I'd say he was probably working on both those at the same time.
Oh my god. It's still a terrible idea.
I agree with his point that he really missed an opportunity to have his Game Boy knockoff just be called the Soulja Boy. How do you miss that?
Oh god. That would have been good. That would have been really good.
I might have given him a pass partially for that.
Maybe a little partially, just because he had a clever idea.
Just
at least a little clever.
Well, you know that he's not the brains behind any of this. He's just funneling money.
Yeah, he's just funneling money to the Chinese companies who are being smart and giving him all the attention, while they just get by. Yeah,
they're okay. His name's on the front of it. He's front and center. He's on. His Twitter's lighting up, and they're just like, haha, twiddling. They're counting their money, their American dollars, and they're like, what can we do next to scam the American populace?
Because in fact, if you really wanted to, you can go to Amazon and search for that PSP. You will find it for $40.
Right.
You will find the exact $40 model of the thing he was trying to sell for 150.
Yeah, yeah. You can even find all the other consoles too that he had under his belt. They're all out there
Really?
still. Yeah, because even JonTron was like, oh, we can't. They never shipped us this console, but we bought the same thing off of Amazon, and it was like $50 less. So it's the
Oh
same
my
thing.
god. See, I didn't know about that for the first console, but the second one, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're out there. You can find them anywhere. Not
Oh yeah,
anywhere,
it's just
but all over Amazon and stuff like that.
oh yeah, just because all there are just emulators with ROMs built inside, or just emulators. You can buy a Raspberry Pi and don't even know there's emulators or not emulator, but there's already ROMs already on it.
Yeah.
Happened before.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can mix everything into a Raspberry Pi. I mean, it has everything from Atari games all the way up to like GameCube and beyond. It's crazy.
And it's easy too. That's the bad part. It's so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you said you were gonna make your own arcade cabinet, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that.
My
It's not.
Well, my dad actually made one. He hollowed out a old arcade cabinet that was called like War of the Worms or something like that. Oh, what was it?
Yeah.
It was like a Centipede knockoff. And so what he did was he put a Windows 7 computer in there with MAME running on it.
Oh,
And then he
nice.
also put a motor in there so that the screen can turn depending on what game you're playing. So you just flip a switch and the screen turns. So if you're playing Mario Bros or whatever, you would turn it to the sideways. But if you want to play Donkey Kong, let's say, you would press the button and it would rotate to vertical so that you could play a vertical Donkey Kong.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It still works. It's still alive.
See, I was gonna go the lazy way about it. I was gonna buy an arcade one up and
Oh,
take the mini arcade cabinet, turn it around, take out the stupid emulator that it has in it. That's what 4 games. You can't put it on there. Just
some of them
take
only come
that
with
out.
one.
Yeah, take that out, put the Raspberry Pi on there, and then have fun.
I actually got one of those. Well, technically my fiance got one from her dad for Christmas, and it's the Galaga one, and I like it. It's nice quality. There's a few dead pixels on there, but nothing too terrible.
Sorry, my roommate just got here. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's all
Busy
good.
house.
So I don't think I asked you where your name came from in the last time we talked, and I think that's one thing that I forgot to ask. Where did your random gamer come from?
Oh boy. So pretty much if you know anything about me, I am pure last minute, pure like I come up with everything on the fly. I have no planning. I can't plan anything because if I try to plan something, it just falls apart
Hmm.
immediately. So this has been my attitude the way it's always been. So the way my name came up was just I thought about how I wanted to make my channel. And I just want to do a random variation of games. And it was just come all the way from indie games all the way to AAA. Just I play everything. I play a random assortment of games. This whole thing, you never know what I'm gonna play next because I might throw something completely random out there. And I was watching. I still watch this channel. I watch Your Average Consumer, and I kind of mixed his name with mine. Even though I won't admit to it to anybody else, but I kind of did mix his name because I thought that was a clever way to say that name. So I was like,
Right.
Your Random Gamer. There you go.
Yeah,
Even my logo.
just don't call him
Even
out
my
on Twitter.
logo. Yeah. I mean, it's not copyrighted.
Right.
So it's the same thing, Soulja Boy. It's my own variation of the name.
There you go. I hope he's listening. He's writing this down right now. He's like, okay, I see what I did wrong now.
Jesus. Even my logo, like me and my wife created my logo in 30 minutes. Had no thought really much into it. I'm just like thinking, I was like, what about a question mark? Because it's random.
Mhm.
And we just kind of just went with it.
Well, that's a nice logo. I think 30 minutes was. I mean, let's be honest here. Most companies are like working on their logos for years, but you
I
made a
know,
nice
right?
logo in like you said 30 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes to an hour. I
Yeah.
mean, and it was okay, let me be fair. It was 99% her tweeting that logo and everything. She's done a lot for the channel.
Hmm.
And I've done like 1%. I'm the face. That's all I am. I'm the guy playing it.
Yeah, there you go.
She even jokes like I do all the fun stuff while she does all the work. Which is true.
Yeah, we'll just compare you to PewDiePie.
Oh God. I mean, if only I had the subs.
Yeah, I think that's how he does it. He's the face. He does all the recording, and then someone else behind the scenes just edits all his videos together and poops them out.
I mean, pretty much all of the bigger YouTubers are like that, though, aren't they? I mean, Markiplier himself has his own team behind him.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have an upload schedule like they do, that's really the only
Oh my
way to do
God,
it.
no kidding.
But
Because
I remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll tell a story
oh
in a
no,
second.
go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead. Tell the
I
story.
remember. I was not really talking to, but through means that I cannot express. I was able to see some behind the scenes action of a few bigger, smaller YouTubers who, they just kind of make videos pretty much daily, and the kind of the way they do it. And I started like these people aren't like huge. They had like 500,000 maybe. I don't remember exactly, but one guy was really smaller, and he was having he had a whole editing crew, and he had people making his thumbnails for him. And I was like, that kind of eliminates part of the fun of YouTube, just being you on YouTube. You edit the videos, you make the thumbnails. I mean, eventually, if I do or you get that big, of course you're gonna need someone to help you edit it. But I mean, I still want to be a part of that. I want to be in that scene still, making the something out of it. I like, I don't know. I don't know how much say that PewDiePie or Markiplier has in his editing, but I know that the people I was talking to, he just kind of was like, all right, here's my webcam video and here's my gameplay. Put it together and make a fucking thumbnail. Like,
Yeah, it's really simple about that. Also, I do apologize, but my daughter is probably crying through all that.
well, I appreciate you muting that.
I muted some of it, but it's still kind of coming in.
I mean, when we first talked, I think she was still an infant, right? She wasn't a toddler yet.
Oh, holy crap! What in the world?
What's going on out there?
I have no idea. Jesus Christ! No, when we first talked, that was what last year.
Yeah, it was about. I want to say it was in like October or something like that.
Yeah, it was about October. So she was still. Let's see. God, it has been a while. So now she was still 3. She's about to turn 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's still fine. She's still the same age. She just obviously she's not the same age, but she's almost 4 now.
She's grown even though she hasn't aged.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Obviously, we talked about you being a dad last time. Has anything changed about your opinions on being a dad, and as she grows up, is it getting harder or easier to deal with?
For a second, I thought you said being dead. I was like, I'm not dead. No, my opinions haven't changed much. I still believe that's why I only stream on Thursdays and Fridays, because anytime I get outside of work, I try to spend as much time as I can with my wife and my kids. And they're always number one. They're always going to be the first priority in my life, no matter, even if I become a big YouTuber or a big Twitch person. What is that? A Twitcher? Twitch? I don't know.
I think
the right
they're just
term
called
for that.
ninja.
Just called ninja. But even if I ever got to that point, I would still make it so my kids are priority number one, no matter what. No, let's say if it's gotten easier or harder, I would probably say a little easier. But of course, she's still growing. She's gotten to that part where she's not wanting to listen to me at all. So that's gotten harder. But other than that, it's gotten fairly easier.
Hey, where do babies come from?
Oh, from storks, of course. No, I mean, if you actually ask,
No. Just wanted to see if you were prepared for the question.
No, if you actually ask me what I tell my kids, I'll tell them the truth. I mean, not all the way the truth, but I'm not gonna tell them storks.
Well, you see, you put on some smooth jazz, You put out some flower petals.
Oh, flower petals! This is a little too much.
This is really boring, Dad.
Now we just tell them the truth that they came from mommy, from inside mommy's belly. But we don't tell them the whole process
Right.
now. But we tell them the truth. We don't lie to our kids much.
Well, I guess that's a good thing.
Of course, I mean, there are things that we won't tell them. I mean, I specifically told my wife I'm trying to stop them from dealing with death as much as I can, because I dealt with that when I was 6 years old. My father died.
Oh.
So yeah, dealing with that pain, I've dealt with it all my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want them knowing any of that as far as I can, as far as I can kind of prevent it.
So no goldfish from the festivals, huh?
We've had pets, we've had to get rid of, we've had pets, we have had one pet that died,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still that's not as bad. It's not as traumatic as a family member dying.
Right, of course.
And I've had family members die during having kids, and I've tried my best to one get them to understand what's going on, and two try to get it so they're not what's not upset, not like uh traumatically traumatized.
Right.
Jesus. I can't.
You
I
want them to
cannot English.
understand, and not be
Yeah,
overwhelmed by the possibility of death.
exactly. And the kids these days talk so much about death. Kids, the shows they watch talk so much about death. And almost want to try to explain it to them that they don't really understand, because if you are somebody who's traumatically experienced a death in the family, they're going to be the people who don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to talk about it. So and something I really can't really explain to them, and something I probably never can until unfortunately it happens.
Right. Well, hopefully that's not anytime soon.
Oh, hopefully not. No.
So you play a lot of VR.
I do play a lot of VR.
Is there ever the fear that you're going to just smack a child in the face?
One, I've done that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep, I've done it already. My wife's done it on accident. It's always an accident, of course.
Right.
And it's just because there's always this play area. We try to tell the kids, don't go in this play area when we're playing VR, because we have something right in our face that we can't see what's going on.
Right.
And we can feel the ground moving, like shaking from their feet. But if they're quietly walking and they're right next to us, we won't know. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to block this sword attack. Oops. So, yeah, it can happen. It does happen.
Yeah. It's got to hurt.
I've hit myself in the face with it because because like I said, you have this big old thing in your face that you really can't see what you're doing. But
what would you say your favorite game on the VR is? And also, what type of VR do you have? I'm not sure. Is it the Oculus or the Vive?
No, I own the Vive. I own the HTC Vive, which in my opinion, is better.
Well,
because I have
same as Eric for president, actually.
Yeah, because you have two cameras constantly watching you.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the Oculus, which I do believe has a camera in the front of the screen, of the TV screen, so it has like you can lean and move around. Instead, you have the Vive, which tracks the headset itself and your two controllers.
Mm-hmm.
So you're walking around in a play space, so it's a little bit more interactive. You're more focused in VR itself. It's easy to get lost in VR because you're not sitting down playing. You're actually standing up. Well, I mean, you can sit down, but you're more walking around and actually playing around.
What about the wire situation? Is there a lot of wires attached to that? Because I think from your webcams, I've seen pretty clear space from where you've been walking around in.
Yeah, I mean, the wire situation... Sorry. The wire situation itself, it's not as bad as you think. You have to get smart with it. I'm not even the smartest I've been with it. I've seen people who have a freaking wire set up on their ceiling with bungee cords that kind of moves the wires around with them. That's smarter, in my opinion, because, I mean, I still have the freaking wires in the back of my head with the VR headset.
Kind of like the
following
Matrix.
Me everywhere. Yeah, kind of like the Matrix. But the way we have the camera set up is we have thumbtacks under the wires around the house. So, around the living room itself. So there's no wires getting in the way of where we're playing. They're just up there on the ceiling where they can't be bothered. There is a wireless Vive, though. I mean, not a wireless Vive itself, but there's a wireless adapter you can buy for the Vive if you really want to. I mean, I prefer wired, so it's already finicky enough of connection issues. So having more with wireless is not my biggest thing I want to have.
Does it take an obsessive amount of power outlets too? Like, do you have to have like two power strips with you, or?
All right, so you don't have to have an excessive amount of power strips. No, you have to have one uh God dang it. I'm trying to think of the right word for it. I guess slot in the wall outlet, slot, whatever. You have to have two of them for wherever you're going to put the Vive itself and also the first base station. And the second base station itself also needs to be hooked up to a power supply. And that's about it.
That's not too
Other
bad.
than that, it's not too bad. And other than that, it's just going to be what your computer's running. The computer does have to be a good computer. Has to be. We're talking about at least, God dang it, what's wrong with my throat today? We're talking at least about $1,000 computer at the best because you need a good graphics card in order to run it. Like I used to run it on a AMD 380, and even then, that was pushing it. That was bare minimum. The Vive itself is like, you might want to upgrade this.
You gotta get those computers that say HT Vive ready or Oculus ready, you know?
You don't have to, but it's, I mean, that's what they want you to do, of course.
It's recommended.
It's recommended. I mean, I think the only thing I need to update, God dang it, my voice is so raspy. I'm sorry.
Were you yelling a lot or
No, I guess I didn't drink recently. But yeah, pretty much the graphics card itself, you don't want to have a good graphics card. I have a 580 now instead of a 380, so my streams have been a lot better recently, especially with VR. And you need something, a good processor at least to get everything running. You're going to have a heat problem if you don't have good fans, so you need a good gaming computer in order to run this beast.
you need a lot of space too? Huh.
Oh, you recommended to have a lot of space. You don't have to.
Make sure
the
there's
Vive
no
itself,
hand height tables around you too. So you don't
yeah, pretty much. You have to clear a little space. But I mean, the Vive itself, you make your own play space. So there's a little program that you run when you first get the Vive, and you can run it any time, where you just pretty much you take the controller and mark out what your play space wants to be, like where you have your room, and then it'll create a play space for you. And it'll actually have like bordered walls, so you know, okay, if I get too close to this, I'm going to run into a wall, or I'm going to hit a wall.
Right. So, I guess we kind of teared off on this, but what is your favorite game to play on the VR right now?
God, I almost want to say Beat Saber. I love playing Beat Saber. It's probably one of my favorite music games I've ever played. It's actually the only music game I'm good at. Other than that, let's see. Gorn I've always loved. It's just I can't really stream that anymore because it's not really taken off anywhere and it's getting a little dull. There's not much new stuff anymore for it, but it's just more fun to just boot up and I'm gonna punch somebody when I'm angry.
Yeah, Beat Saber actually had a PlayStation release, and I was able to play around with it. I forgot to stretch before playing, so I was hurting a little bit, especially with those ones where you have to duck under things. I feel like obviously on the HTC and probably the Oculus, I mean, there's way more. You know, you can download songs that people create, and you can add new savers and stuff like. So it's obviously better on those systems, but. I mean, the PlayStation version is pretty competent. I just think that the the base track listing is a little too hippity hoppity for me.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always come down to the same thing when it comes to things like that. Every time you come out with a console release of a game versus a PC release of a game, it's always going to be one thing missing: mods, mods itself.
Right.
And that's Saber is mods. I mean, everyone uses mods for Beat Saber because it's custom songs, custom sabers, custom platforms, custom avatars. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with mods, and you really can't do that on consoles. They really don't allow mods at all, except for when Bethesda tried to enable the freaking Skyrim mods, which that was a galactic nightmare.
That's a cluster.
Like that was EA levels of bad. $5 for the armor for your horse.
What would you say is the best song to download for Beat Saber right now?
The best song to download?
Yeah, like a modded song.
Oh,
the Shrek entire Shrek movie.
Oh my god, I'll never do that. And the worst part is that's actually a hard song. It goes fast.
Yeah.
I actually don't think there is a particular song that people will download for Beat Saber. Of course, I mean you can go download Beat Saber and go into the mod section, put the mods on there, and then go into the song menu. You go, oh look, the first song that pops up, download. So I mean that's gonna be the most downloaded song right there.
Right.
As for songs itself, it all depends on your skill level. I mean, I'm trying to find songs now that I have to reach now because as soon as I beat Fire and Flames,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm at this point where it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah. What's the next level here? You know?
What's the next level? And I mean, I've played songs that are still without of my reach that I still can't play, but it all depends on your skill level, honestly. I mean, you could sit there and play, oh god, freaking, the Cha Cha Slide, and that could be the most downloaded song to your skill level, but you don't know.
Right.
I will say though, if you're gonna play a song in Beat Saber, do it on expert. Learn how to play expert and then play it because expert's pretty much the way every song is designed to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that because I'm still on hard mode on the Beat Saber, and it's it's like you said earlier, it's missing something, and I think expert is that push, but I can't do expert yet. I'm still still
like
a noob.
It's like those notes. They like kind of remove some of the notes to make it easy. It seems like, and it slows it down a little bit. It almost like it interrupts the flow of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say right now, in order to play expert on Beat Saber, trust. It's not like Guitar Hero where you have to really pay attention to where all the notes are. This one, let it flow. Let it pretty much moves with how your arms are supposed to move. So let's say like you have a down arrow coming up and you have a note coming behind that note.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be going up. It's going to be because that's the flow of the song.
Right.
I mean, those are ridiculously fast songs, and once you notice the flow of them, it's easy to play. You just can't mess up the flow.
Yeah, they definitely put a lot of thought into the game,
Definitely, and it's almost like Star Wars, where you have to trust the Force. You have to, use the Force on your side. I reference this when I play Beat Saber. It's like you have to use the Force. It's don't just don't think about the notes. Just do it, and it works. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very flowing. Most songs are, like you said, designed for experts. So even if it doesn't feel right when you're playing it on hard, sometimes expert is just the one that you need to play to get the right groove going.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had the same problem with Rock Band. When I was playing the drums on hard mode, there were a few songs that like the drum line didn't match up. Like if you try to play Everlong on Rock Band 2, or I think it's downloadable now on Rock Band 4.
Such a good song.
The hard part is straight eighth notes. But the real song is like, it's the really fast hi-hat, so it kind of dumbs it down too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, I think most games, when they're created for these type of games, are created for the hardest mode because that's what everyone's going to be on eventually.
Right.
So it's not as much thought put into it as expert or the hardest difficulty or whatever it tends to be. In fact, I'd almost say that with almost every game out there, especially in VR, it's more designed toward, story games different. Story games are designed for normal, but it's because when you crank it up to harder difficulties, it's gonna be, they're taking stuff away. But there are games out there definitely that's more designed for the harder difficulties, and it's more designed to punish you more, but it's supposed to be more rewarding.
Right. I get you.
Right. Sorry, I ramble. You know that.
No, it's okay. Last thing I wanted to talk about, though, was we played a little game together on live stream. We played 2 games so far. One was Battlezone, but the other one was Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I just wanted to play that with you again at some point.
I would love to. That was such a fun experience. Not knowing what was on your screen and having to go through that manual was amazing. It gave you a little bit of anxiety, but it was also like, this is really fun.
See, I actually felt a little bad because I wanted you to play too with the bomb, but you couldn't because you didn't own the. I
own it on PlayStation now, but
okay,
yeah.
That's how I was going to assume you didn't own the game. I didn't want to assume though because you know what they say about assuming.
Well, yeah, I didn't have it when we played it, but it was on sale on a VR sale on PlayStation, and it was only like $5, and I was like, yeah, I like that game enough to buy it. Yeah.
And the manual is insane.
Yeah, it's very well detailed.
The manual changes, and of course there's mods. Of course there's freaking mods for the game. Like I was watching one guy play. He was on an elevator, and it was called the Hellevator because every single inch of this thing was covered with modules, just covered in them. Wow. And you had a timer. You had a timer for an hour.
Okay.
And it was a strict timer.
Ooh.
The guy had like 3 people with him, and it was just nuts.
3 people? That many people had
3 people. Yeah, he was like giving assignments to every person, trying to go as fast as he could with it because of how hard the timer was.
Right.
Battlezone itself also is VR. the reason I haven't streamed that, I tried it in VR. It's amazing, but the problem is watching it outside of VR. I noticed there's this weird issue. It's almost like it's fish-eyed but for some reason it's not in VR. But it's when you're watching it in person, it's fish-eyed. But it's a weird fish-eye. Like there's parts more extended outward. It's really weird how they did that.
Yeah, it sounds kind of weird.
That's why I was tempted to stream it one night in VR, and then I'm like, oh, now I can't really do that. It's gonna look so awful if I do this, because you can't really see everything I'm seeing.
Right.
Even though it looks really, really damn cool. And I'm glad there's so many more games coming out in VR.
Yeah, me too. It seems like every week on the PlayStation there's a new VR game. Some of them are trash, but some of them look really neat. Really neato.
I'm so jealous of you right now because I want Borderlands 2 in VR so bad.
I haven't gotten to play it yet because I'm waiting for a sale, because this would be like the 5th time I bought the Borderlands 2.
Yep. That's my Skyrim problem right there.
Yeah. Skyrim's been released more times, but I've bought Borderlands more times.
It's such strange. A good game.
It is.
It's such a good game.
It's definitely in my top 10 of all time. And I mean, anyone who's watched my live streams knows that I know the game inside and out. And it's just it's still a fun game, even knowing all the different things you can do. Even though you can know how to cheese the ending boss, it's still a fun time.
Definitely is a fun time. And Borderlands 2 VR should just be so much further than that. I'm so excited to try it. I know it's coming out in PC in a few months because those are timed exclusive for PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And boy, I'm gonna hop on that so fast.
Last question here for you today. What's more annoying to you? Polls that are tied on Twitter or people self-promoting in your chat on live streams?
Well, for one, if you try to put a link on my chat, it just won't allow it. So there's no really self-promotion going on in my chat. But I'll definitely say polls on Twitter. Oh my God. Because my polls on Twitter are all about what am I going to play tonight? Because I have no idea, guys. You tell me what to play. And when they tie, it's just like, y'all are the greatest help.
Sometimes I think people tie them intentionally.
Maybe intentionally, yeah, just to troll me. In
Right.
fact, I think last night there was a tie on Twitter and I had to pick, and I was just like, great.
You gotta pick the one that was winning for the longest time, which may also just be tied anyway. So what is it about?
Yeah, it might just be tied. Yeah, there was actually that happened to me last night. There was 6 votes, and there was 2 games. There was Blade and Sorcery, and another game that was tied with it. And I was like, okay. I checked in about 2 more hours. It was at 8 votes. Both were still tied. Just like,
Of course.
so annoying.
All
so
right.
I guess I'd have to pick that because, like I said, self-promotion in my chat isn't a thing because it's just not allowed. Now, if somebody did come in and just chatted saying, please come watch my stream, it'd be a little annoying. But I mean, I could just immediately block that. I get one of my moderators to block that, so it's not as bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I think that's all the time we have today with UrRandomGamer. All of his links will be down in the description below, including Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Woo! Is there anything else you want to say before we end the podcast?
Thank you so much for having me again on here, Yemmy. It's really fun. It's always fun with you. And
not a problem.
I'm excited to be able to play a game with you again pretty soon.
Oh, definitely. We'll have to set that up because I'm itching to play more of anything, actually. Battlezone or what's it called? Nobody dies. Yeah.
Nobody dies.
Well, someone's going to die, but it ain't going to be me because I'm reading the instructions.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
All right. Well, hey, I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of the Ferret Business Podcast.